Howdy, all you delicious people! I'm here today to review Chainsaw Man, Season 1, Episodes 1 through 3. I really like this show. I want to watch more of it. Hopefully people like Chainsaw Man and want me to watch more, because I definitely will. I went on to YouTube and I just searched the word Chainsaw Man English dub, and come to find out most of the season seems to be on YouTube somewhere. So I'm like, yes! I can watch this show. And, feel happy that I don't have to watch it just in like a whole subtitle thing, because then I'd be like, yeah, it'd be like Japanese Spider-Man all over again, where like I have to go on and just kind of really slowly watch it and just be like, okay, all right, like I understand now. But yeah, so we go into Chainsaw Man and we have a guy named Denji who, in the early part of this story, is to have to lose a number of parts of his body so that he can pay off this debt for the Yakuza. We have Denji, who is also desperately going on to do this lumberjack job with his seemingly pet demon, Pochita, and we have the two that are going on and just kind of like every day, like trying to just kind of hang on, and because they're really just kind of like almost as close as like what a like homeless person would be. Like these characters are just kind of eating one slice of bread for a whole day, and we go on to have this character kind of live in this shack because that's all he can afford, because somehow Denji's father had racked up this massive debt of like 38 million yen for the Yakuza, and so now Denji has to figure out how he can deal with that debt. So Denji goes on to become this demon or devil hunter, as well as going on and kind of doing all these other odd jobs to try and work off this debt. So we also find out that Denji had saved Pochita's life, and I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that somewhat right. People can correct me. It's great. So Denji goes on to figure out a way to get out of this debt, but also he goes on to find out that he's going to become the Chainsaw Man, and he is going to meet a girl named Makima, and it seems that she is going to offer him like clothes and a place to live and food and whatever, as long as he goes on and continues to become this Chainsaw Man and wipe out these fiends or these devils or whichever. And so we have Chainsaw Man that gets within these 3 episodes, he get lumps into like having to shadow or partner up with people, and that journey will take Denji on to realize that maybe he shouldn't be partnered up with anybody. Maybe he should just be by himself. But we also have Makima that is to see that there's a lot of potential in Denji because he's unique. Because he's not quite human, but he's not quite devil. So, like we have that all going on. It's kind of like the Devil Man, or the Devil Man Crybaby or whatever the one anime was, where a guy had turned into like a demon, but it was kind of like midway to where like he could be human and then he could transform into this Devil Man and take out people. Really interesting like visuals for that show. But anyways, let's go on and let's get into what of course is to be this show. Let's go into the Double Five time territory, because about that time yet again to, of course, go into spoiler time. Letting everybody know, you can just go onto YouTube and search the words Chainsaw Man English Dub, D-U-B, dub, and be able to see Chainsaw Man there. Of course, without any kind of goofy fees or whatever. It's not like a premium access thing. It's just there. Search through it and find it. So, with that said, let's go into spoiler time. Spoiler time, it's about that time you get to spoil this episode. So, we have Denji that is with Pochita, and Denji, of course, is to state in the early ons, like how, like he sold his eye, he's sold his kidney, and he sold one of his bowels, to really try and pay off this debt. And we have him go on to state like how much all that debt really was. Or how much that money was for all those things, which still didn't put a dent in his debt. And so, how Denji goes on and finds Pochita is that Denji goes on and kind of bumps into Pochita, who seems to be wounded, and Denji goes on to like say it's like, hey, like all of you devils, like you guys need like blood to survive, right? Well, I'll give you my arm, like if like you like if you swear now, like we're like going to be like partnered together because we'll take care of one another. So Pochita bites on Denji's arm and starts sucking his blood. So Denji does not become a vampire, luckily. But so Denji goes on to take Pochita and is to kind of rear back with this chainsaw Pochita to take down this tomato devil, because the only thing that you can get the most money out of is by slaying these demons, by hunting them down. And they end up going for like 400,000 yen. So, or 300,000 yen. So, we have Denji getting ready here to take out this tomato devil, as the tomato devil with all of his eyes is looking on and seeing like, aha, like I spot you. So the next thing we see is that Denji had clearly killed this thing, and is to go on and state that well, obviously, like whoever is to go on and like they should kind of recheck their seeds, or like another one of these are going to crop up. So we have the Yakuza member that comes in to see that Denji has killed this thing, and so he goes on and states like, well, I think this devil on the black market can probably give us like 400,000 yen. And Denji's like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. And then we then have the Yakuza that's like, well, yeah, but like there's a million different fees, and like, and so you're really only going to be left with like 70K by the end of this. So there's a whole lot of money talk within these episodes. It's crazy. So after finding out all the number of fees the Yakuza is going to charge him, we, of course, have Denji that's like, well, like, I do have my water bill, and so, and not to mention all the other bills of all the stuff that I owe all these people for, which I'm assuming if anybody's going to come out of the woodwork and start being like, hey, where did Denji go? Is he dead? Like, hey, I want my debt paid. But so, really after doing all the math, Denji is to realize that he's going to only be left with 1,800 yen. I don't know the American yen equivalent. I don't know. I don't know if 800 yen is a lot of money or not. I don't think it is. So, we go on and have of course, Denji that is telling Pochita that they're going to have to make this 800 yen last uh, for a whole month. So we have Denji and Pochita that are walking by, and so the Yakuza is talking to his driver, and so the driver is going on and saying, it's like, well, like, why did you hire this guy to be this devil hunter? And the Yakuza goes on and states, is like, well, like, the only reason why we hired him is because, like, he's not like all the authentic hunters that would like not not let us like take the kills from them, and because they don't like that kind of thing. Like, so the Yakuzas can't go on and kind of like sponsor any of these devil hunters, so they got to go on and just find somebody who is willing to kind of get like their bounty like taken away from them. So we go on to, of course, have things going on from the past, showcasing that the Yakuza, after it seems that Denji's dad had died somehow, we go on to have the Yakuza who is stating to Denji, it's like, well, like, I don't know what you're gonna do, but like, you're gonna need to owe me like 700k yen by tomorrow. So what are you gonna do? So that, of course, is when Denji ends up meeting with Pochita, and he ends up sawing one of these devils in half. And so Denji goes on and tells the Yakuza, like, all right, like, you guys are gonna go on, and I'll be your devil hunter, and like, I'll try to pay my debt off this way. And they're like, okay, all right. So we then fast forward to present day. So we have this Yakuza that is to give Denji like 100k if he goes on to swallow this cigarette, and he does, but he really probably just puts it under his tongue. So the guy gives them money so that way they can make food last for the next 3 days. So we have the Yakuza, it's like, well, hey, like don't vanish anywhere or we'll gut you like a pig. So they drive off. So we, of course, have Denji that is going on with Pochita, and eating this thing of bread. And so Denji is pining away about being with a woman before he dies. That at some point he is to hope that he gets with a woman or a psychopathile or whatever desperately before he dies. So Denji is in this little shack and just like having like almost this like small mattress to just sleep on, and like it's kind of like propped up by all these pallets and all these kind of just weird items. So we have a number of hours where Denji is to go on and sleep, to be woken by the Yakuza. It's like, hey man, I have another job for you. So Denji follows this Yakuza, and it's like, man, you guys couldn't have let me sleep? Like, come on. So Denji goes to this warehouse, and we find out that this Yakuza isn't what it seems that he is. So we find out instead that this Yakuza is actually a zombie, because these Yakuza had all sold a part of themselves to this zombie devil, and the zombie devil's like, haha, and I took all advantage of that because I just made them all my zombies. I just made them all my slaves. So, to kind of lure in other people. So, we go on to have Denji with Pochita, and so Denji ends up getting stabbed in the back by one of these zombies while the Yakuza is talking to him. And so now we have Denji, who is starting to run away from these zombies, and the zombies are gaining pretty good ground. So the zombie devil is like, oh, okay, yeah, like, go on and just kind of just tear him apart, just kill him, and just toss him in dumpster like all the others. So they end up doing that, and so these zombies continue to just stab into Denji, and Denji's like, oh my god, like I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna die, and so Denji gets tossed in this dumpster, and so now his devil, his Pochita, is to revive him by basically giving up herself, or giving up itself, to save Denji. So Denji is to be somehow revived, and so Pochita is to talk to Denji one last time, just tell him that she really loves all his stories of all his dreams, and all she wants is from time to time to hear him just pine away or talk about all the dreams that he has, and consider them even for Pochita saving him. So Pochita dies so that way Denji can live. And so Denji then comes back out of this dumpster to find that these zombies are still there. I'm like, dude, is this just gonna happen all over again? Is he just gonna die again and be like, what a waste that was? But no. We find out that Denji is to have this kind of ripcord thing in front of his chest, and I'm like, okay, like, what does this mean now? So, because of course I had seen certain visuals of what Denji looks like as a Chainsaw Man, but I didn't quite get what, like, is this where he's going to, like, morph in some cases? Like, he's going to be, like, the Guyver, or he's going to be, the Power Ranger, and there's going to be this whole sequence. So this kind of feels like very much like Guyver in a lot of ways. But anyways, so we have Denji that pulls, that is to kind of pull this cord, and he goes on to fight against all of these zombies and just easily starts, like, plowing through them. There is at one point when the zombie devil does grab Denji and kind of, like, smacks him away, and he ends kind of hurting his back, but Denji continues to just kind of mow down all of these zombies, and he realizes that after he goes on and kills all these zombies, like, he'll be out of debt. So we get points to where the Chainsaw Man goes on to, like, start to slice through the zombie devil, and it tries to, like, protect itself because it's realizing it's in danger, and it has these weird, like, intestines that, like, grab onto things. So we have the Chainsaw Man that runs through all these zombies because he has chainsaws on his hand and also on his head, like a fin, and I was like, oh my god, this is cool. And we also find out at some points that within these 3 episodes that the blades on his hands even retract. It also is a seem that Denji is to be either really strong because of the life that he has led, or that he is just really strong because he is this devil at some points. So it's like, okay, like, that'll be cool to, like, see, like, how strong Denji really gets or really is, or if there's a possibility that Denji can somehow, like, upgrade himself, and it'd be cool to see, like, where this all goes. So we have Denji slicing through all of these zombies, and by the end of this, we just have him freaking exhausted. So we then go on to have Makima and two other men behind her that seem to be these kind of like hat wearing, like everybody used to wear kind of like the same kind of uniform as if they're kind of like the Men in Black. So, or they look like John Wick almost, all of them. So Makima comes in to realize that all of these zombies are slaughtered, but then we have the Chainsaw Man who is just standing there. So the Chainsaw Man is to desperately ask for Makima to like hold on to him, and so she does, and that's when he kind of demorphs back to his human person. So it's like, aha, like Akima is to realize that this person is not quite devil, but also not quite human, because it kind of puts off this different smell. So besides, of course, Dejima probably smelling, because who knows how long he's ever really taken a shower or whatever. More than likely, I'm also thinking, like, when was the last time this guy had brushed his teeth? Because I'm just thinking about, like, he's probably going to die from some other kind of sickness, whatever, from just simply not kind of doing some regular maintenance. So, we have Denji that goes on to go along with Makima, as Makima is stating, like, well, hey, normally I have like these pets, like these dogs, and like I can go on and make you one of my dogs, but you have to go on and like agree to this, and once you agree, like there's no going back. So Denji ends up agreeing to this because he hears that he can get like a pretty good meal out of this. So he's like, "All right, yeah, like I'll go on and I'll whatever you need me to do, like as long as you like can treat me really well compared to anybody." So Denji goes on to just look at this girl that he's very attracted to, and he's like, "I'm gonna get so close to like be with this woman and cop a feel." That's all that matters. So we have of course Makima that's saying like, well, yeah, like we can definitely have breakfast and we can have all these meals, and Denji's like, great. But Denji seems to continue to pass out, and I'm kind of wondering if Denji is at some point going to need like any normal like other devil, like is he going to need blood as well as just kind of have nourishment, or is it going to be seemingly one and the same? Will kind of even that out. So, also, like, do vampires ever take a dump? Because all they need is blood. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe their system works differently. But, anyways, so Denji goes on to go with this girl and they order udon. And so we, of course, have Denji who wakes up again after he's kind of passed out and he starts eating it. So we have Denji who states to Makima, it's like, well, hey, do you have a boyfriend? Are you single? Like what's your, like, what type are you really interested in? And so the girl's like, well, like, I like a Denji type. And he's like, Denji? Oh, me? Ah. So Denji really gets his hopes up, and I think he's really just getting used by this girl, as well as any number of these people have to realize that they're probably just all getting used. So we have Denji that goes on to eat this meal, and so we have Makima that is to go on and give Denji this coat, or otherwise he's just going to walk around shirtless. And Makima goes on to then take him to the Tokyo headquarters for Devil Hunters. And he then goes on to be given this outfit that again looks very much like Men in Black or John Wick, and is to be told that he's going to go on and have to be like shadowed by Aki. Aki Yamakawa. Yamakawa. Hopefully that's pronouncing it somewhat correct. So we have Denji who's like, okay, so like I'm technically like having a partner. Like, okay, this is alright. So immediately when Denji goes on with Aki, we find out that Aki is to want to dump Denji in some alley somewhere, and Aki is to tell Denji, it's like, well, like, it feels like you don't have, like, the passion to really do this, and, like, I'm just gonna dump you in this dark alley because I know that, like, I'll just kind of give, Maka, or, Makima, like, an excuse that you just ran away or that you ended your own life. Like, I'll give you an out. And so we go on to realize that both Denji and Aki are going to get into a fight here. And immediately when Aki's back is turned, we have Denji that goes on to kick this guy in the nuts. And continues to do so numerous times over. Because Denji realizes whenever he fights a guy, he immediately goes for the nuts. Consistently. And to the point where almost, like, Aki is almost like puking blood because he's been hitting the nuts so often. So we have Denji that grabs Aki and brings him back to the headquarters to talk to Akima, and states that there must have been some testicle demon that was to attack Aki's nuts. And so we come to find out that, like, Akima is to set up here that Denji needs to go on and do a good job and do it really well, or otherwise that they are going to kill him because technically he's half devil, half human. So at any point that they decide that Denji is not good enough at his job, they'll just wipe him out and consider him like another demon like all the rest. So Denji is to go on like, okay, like, alright, like, I guess I'm just stuck with Aki. So they go on to this mission. So we find out that the two of them are going on to take down this fiend. And so I was like, ooh, fiend, alright. You've got my attention, Show, with a trigger name. Because that seems like a really cool name for a thing, a monster, or whatever. So we come to find out that like, Aki is to know what a fiend is, and we of course have Denji that doesn't, because he's like, well, I never went to school, like, so I don't know what a fiend is. So come to find out, devils who take control over corpses are fiends, and so we have Denji who states, it's like, well, then I must be a fiend then, because this devil was to kind of take control over my body. And it's like, well, it's not the same circumstance. And it seems that Denji is more of a hybrid than it is like a 100% takeover. So we come to find this fiend that I will call Beetleface, because that's what Denji ends up calling him anyways. So it seems that there is always to be this certain kind of feature that tells you what a fiend is, and you'll find that out once you go on and watch the show. So we come in to this room, and we all of a sudden have this guy with these kind of like skinned horns that are kind of coming out of his mouth that again kind of look like a beetle face. So we have Aki that is telling Denji, it's like, okay, like, go on and become this chainsaw man and become your devil so I can kind of see what skills you have. And we immediately just have Denji come in there with this axe, chop this fiend's head off, and kill it. And Aki is just like, wait a minute, like, why did you just, like, easily just quickly, like, take this thing out? And Denji's like, well, like, I didn't want to, like, have this guy, like, suffer. Like, I just wanted to just, like, kind of wipe him out and kill him quickly. And so Aki slams Denji against this window, and he's a state. It's like, I'm sorry, like, fiends or devils are not your friends. Like, you need to make them suffer. Like, if anything, I guess it's like really just making examples out of these characters. Like, man, if they were brutally killed, then like you could see that like no one should go on and be a fiend or a devil or whatever and kind of give into this, because of course like there's going to be hunters out there that'll slaughter anybody. But so we have Aki that explains to Denji that a devil had gone on to kill his whole entire family, and that's why he is driven to kill all of these others. And so he really is not seeing the passion in Denji, and again, it's the reason that this guy is pushing him so hard. So we go on and have this case get resolved, and so Aki and Denji go back to come to find out that Denji. Oh, we also have like a whole night where both Aki and Denji like are together in the same like room or the same like housing area. They're kind of sharing almost like a apartment together. And so we of course have Denji that's like eating all this food and is kind of being a slob. And Denji is kind of going into the bathroom and falling asleep on the toilet. And Aki's like, you can't fall asleep on the toilet. And we have Denji who uses all the toilet paper, and Denji's like, oh my god, like, this guy is a nuisance. Like, I just want to murder him in his sleep. I want him to be dead. So, by the time that Denji and Aki are to come back to Akima, and we have Denji that is going to get a new partner. And so Akima is to mention you'll have a partner. And Denji's like, oh, like, who could I get now? Like, who worse could I get from Aki, the a-hole? So we find out that Denji is getting a partner, and her name is Power. And again, the whole time, Denji is looking at this girl's chest, and he's just like, man, if I could just get a touch, if I could just get a feel, the fabric of our lives. So, come to find out, Power is to have horns on her head, and she, of course, is to be a fiend. So, Denji's like, well, wait a minute, like, how is it that I'm being partnered up with a fiend? Huh? And it's like, no, like this girl is different. So it's like, okay, well, we'll see about that. So we go on to have Denji and we have Power, and they go off together. And so Akima and Aki are going to like these kind of chairmen, it seems. I'm gonna call them chairmen, but I didn't know what exactly they were called. So if they aren't called chairmen, if there's an actual like, no, these guys are the hunters of chairs. So they're like, oh, okay, all right, well, I didn't know. The hunters of chairs. That is what they're called. No. Anyways, so Akima goes on to talk to the chairman, and it's a state that Denji seems to have quite a bit of potential, and the other person that Denji is partnered with is just interesting. And so when Akima goes on to leave with Aki is to say it's like, well, like for Denji you meant like disgusting, not like so like we have Akima who's just like no, like I think there's something here with this guy. So we have Denji and we have Power, and so Power, it seems to be like a repulsing magnet of any kind of fiends or any monsters of any kind, and so like Denji's like, oh great, like so if I fail today, it's probably gonna be because of her. Uh, but yeah, but there's nothing I can do about it. So we have both Power and Denji that go off to this one scene, and is to have Denji kind of flash his badge, and the cops are like, oh okay, all right, you're those guys, all right. So they walk away. So Denji and Power are kind of wondering, like, okay, where's our next case? So Power all of a sudden is to somehow like sniff this this monster out, the devil out. So she goes on to like run off of like rooftops and is to have her hand have blood come out of it, and this blood ends up becoming this kind of big massive hammer weapon, and she goes on to go flying and completely smashes this sea cucumber devil. And we go on to have this guy who is calling, reporting this devil being located there. So Power went on to take killing this devil into her own hands, and Akima is to kind of be upset about it. And so we have Power that tries to blame Denji for this whole thing. And so she's making up all of this crap to say that it's like, oh no, like Denji told me to do it. Like Denji was to tell me to slay this, and like we have Denji that's like, no, I'm not. So, and we have like Power that's saying like, well, like fiends don't lie, devils don't lie, this and that. So we have Denji that's like, oh my god, I'm gonna get killed because of this stupid woman. But so it seems that Power is to somehow obtain this cat, and both Denji and Power are by these vending machines, and so like Denji is just sucking away. And we of course have Power state how she doesn't like humans and all she likes is cats. And so we have Denji that's like, well, I don't know how you could really be interested in cats. Like, I'm more of a dog person, but like, if anything would make me want to risk my life, it would probably be for like some touching, some squeezing. And so we of course have Power that's like, well, you can probably touch me if you go on and you kind of attack the person who is to go on, and to have like hurt this cat. And so Denji's like, okay, let me at him, let me go and find who this person is. So we have Denji, and we have both Power go on to this little house. So we all of a sudden have Denji who is talking about that story that Power had fed him, and Power's like, oh yeah, like that was my backstory, now was it? And so Denji's to realize that what Power had just stated was something that she lied about. And so Denji tries to whip out his weapon, and before he can get to it, we have Power who goes on and gets her weapon and tries to take Denji out. And we have Power that's like, wow, like, you have really good instincts, but too bad you're gonna get killed now. Too bad you're gonna get eaten. So we have Denji who is to go on and go into this house to possibly be fed by this bat devil. this massive, like, Hulk, almost, probably bigger than Hulk, but still, like, this Hulk-like bat character that is to go on and want to consume Denji because he had lost one of his arms via one of these hunter battles. So we have Denji that he ends up starting to get eaten by this Bat Devil, but the Bat Devil is to realize that this thing isn't all quite human, so he's to kind of realize that there's this vile taste in his mouth, and he wants to go on and chase after and kill off humans. And so the Bat Devil had gone on to keep Power's cat, and that was the main reason why Power had gone on to feed this guy to Bat Devil Denji, was simply because she had really had a long time with his cat. So going all the way to have Power, after she had gone on to kill this one devil, she had found this cat, and it's like, well, hey, like, it seems like you're gonna go on and, like, I'm gonna, like, eat you, but I really want to go on and fatten you up first. So Power goes on to find this cow, and she slaughters the cow, but then gives this cat this milk. So Power then goes on and, seemingly without clothes on, is just like having this cat lay on top of her. And so that's, of course, when she meets up with this Bat Devil. It's like, well, hey, like, I'll go on and I'll take away your cat's 9 lives if you go on and you give me food. So we have the Bat Devil that is to go on and have this cat in this cage, and so he eats it, and then he goes on to grab Power and eats her too. So I'm like, wait a minute, so is Power definitively, like, dead now? Like, so we have Denji that is to come back to life, and or comes back into consciousness, and is to grab on to the Bat Devil by the leg and starts sucking on some of his blood. So the Bat Devil is kind of going on and kind of making this, like, this grocery list of, like, well, I'm going to eat this pregnant woman, and I'm going to go and eat this virgin, and I'm going to eat all this. And so we have Denji that goes on and is to, like, grab onto this guy's leg and is trying to then pull the ripcord from his chest so he can turn into Chainsaw Man. So we then have Chainsaw Man that goes on to fight Bat Devil, and we, of course, go on to have the Bat Devil that is to kind of like chuck these cars at Chainsaw Man and be like, well, yeah, like, that's the problem with you is that you care about these people. And Chainsaw Man's like, dude, I don't give an F about any of these people. And so Chainsaw Man takes his car, chucks it back at Bat Devil, and that's where we find out that the chainsaws in the guy's hand are retractable, and also that Chainsaw Man is very strong. He can hold this car. It's almost like the Iron Man scene all over again. So chucks the car ends up blowing up in Bat Devil's face, where he kind of has to use like his hands and stuff to kind of bat out the fire. So Bat Devil goes on to blow like Chainsaw and does kind of blow attack. So Chainsaw Man is trying to go on and fight this Bat Devil and continues to go on and slice into him, taking off certain limbs and stuff like that. So we go on to, at the very end of this, I'm trying to figure out, like, what exactly how this all plays out, because it's just a big massive battle, and I feel like I've gone on to cover everything else. So we go on to have Chainsaw Man, who ends up. Bleh. I'm almost done. Uh, Either way, we have Chainsaw Man who goes on to kill this threat, and we end up having use. Let me pause here for a second. We end up having Chainsaw Man do one final blow that seems to take out the Bat Devil, and that goes on to, of course, end this episode. So, from what I went on and I saw via YouTube, and I'm not quite sure if there was any extra thing of that or they edited a certain way or whatever. But yeah, that's what that's what I ended up seeing. So with that said, I'm gonna go on and get out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody.